Okay, so the Wheel of Fortune. I could talk about the Wheel of Fortune forever. It is one of my favorite cards. And when the Wheel of Fortune comes up, think about change. Something's changing. And this change has to do with some sort of cycle. And our life is a matrix of cycles. But this represents the inevitable fate, destiny. So a cycle of destiny is in play. The Wheel of Fortune is another misleading major arcana card. The orb, which seems to be going around randomly from the heavens towards us, may be taken at first glance to represent a cosmic roulette wheel. Various versions of this card portray one individual ascending to the top of the wheel, while another falls from it helplessly. So these dramatics imply that life is one large, continuous, uncontrollable gamble, and we are at luck's mercy. And whatever happens, while fortune and fate is somehow determining our destiny. So if we look at the surface of a situation, life's distribution of benefits and hardships, then we seem to depend on this turn of the Wheel of Fortune. But when we study the major arcana, we have learned to delve deeper into destiny's meaning to discern its true nature. Our arrival at the wheel is through the hermit's state of consciousness. So it would be good to listen to the video of the hermit and then the Wheel of Fortune. And that will give you hopefully a aha. So no superficial turn of luck has brought him to the spiritual plateau where he has ascended. Fortune did not bring him there. As reward for the hardships he endured, the initiate or the seeker glimpses the working of the cosmos, the mystical letters, the symbols. The wheel indicates secret universal laws that the seeker, now in a purified state, can intellectually grasp for the first time. Jupiter, the great benefic in astrology, is the planet associated with the Wheel of Fortune, blending beautifully with the card's favorable turn of events. The number 10 denotes the end of one cycle and the beginning of a new one. It's about to unfold. So you want to look at where the placement of the Wheel of Fortune is in the reading. Is it in the past, or are they coming up to it? The Wheel of Fortune is one of the most highly symbolic cards in the entire deck. It's filled with signs that each have its own meaning. At the center of the card is the giant wheel, covered in esoteric symbols. There are different creatures that surround the wheel: the angel, the eagle, the bull, and the lion. They are related to the 4 fixed signs of the zodiac: Leo, Taurus, Scorpio, and Aquarius. These 4 animals are also representative of the 4 evangelists in the Christian traditions. which perhaps the reason that they are all adorned with wings. But the books that each of the creatures are holding represent the Torah, which communicates wisdom and self-understanding. The snake indicates the act of descending into the material world. On the wheel itself rides a sphinx that sits at the top, and what appears to be either a devil or Anubis himself arising at the bottom. These two Egyptian figures are represented of both the wisdom of the gods and kings, which represents the case of the Sphinx, and the underworld, the Anubis. They are rotating forever in a cycle that suggests that one comes up, the other goes down. So the Wheel of Fortune can also represent the Chinese mythological wheel of life and death that souls climb onto, and then they are sent back downward, returned into form. It can represent the cycle rotation of our lives, traveling from heaven to earth, or from beginning to end, creating a complete revolution. This is a great wheel of time, signifying the ending of a cycle of time and the dissolving of all phenomena which reemerges later in another form. So when you get the Wheel of Fortune in a reading and it's upright, it represents rewards and opportunity. A reward, a cycle of reward, or a cycle of fortunate opportunities, or a major opportunity, favorable circumstances, is all headed for the seeker. This card represents a change for the better, providing expansion and growth, possibly in a new direction. The Wheel of Fortune suggests that these advantages and the turn of events are to lay the groundwork for success. The Wheel of Fortune may indicate a new start into a wider, more beneficial way of life. Making the most of opportunities sometimes requires taking some calculated risks. When this card appears, the probabilities for success are very good. The Wheel of Fortune turns even more, seemingly to communicate that life is made up of both good and bad times, and that the cycle is one that we cannot control. It is something that is subjected to both kings and workers, and that nobody on earth can avoid what is fated. This is a cycle of destiny. And when you have good moments in your life, make sure that you enjoy them to the fullest. For what comes up always goes down. The same is true in reverse. When you are in a bad situation, things will eventually become better again. So the Wheel of Fortune represents greater forces that are outside of the human control at work in some area of life. So you want to take a look at what suits dominate. The same forces that govern the changing of the seasons or the rising and the setting of the sun is also the master of luck and the fate of individuals. Where it lands is where the change and the good news and the good outcome lies. But it will not last forever. Remember that the wheel always turns. So when this comes up in a relationship reading, It means that there is relationship changes taking place. Some kind of navigating change with a partner is destiny. And it also represents adjustments being made. So the path is adjusting. When the Wheel of Fortune comes up in a career, there's opportunities around, and that there's changes at work. There's good luck in career. In a financial reading, changes in material situation and status, but also being flexible with finances and following the good idea. So anytime this comes up, right, it's a yes. And that yes represents forces of the universe that are also helping and influencing. So definitely a good sign for being on the right path.